We've got a group of plants here that I'm especially interested in, and I hope you will be too. Here in Winter Park, where we're making this little bit here, we want to use plants that can be used in the city for landscaping. And there's a lot of landscaping that's being done here in all these beautiful homes. But the plant that we should use more are begonias. And I have some samples here that I want to show you. There's people would not recognize this as a begonia, but this is an excellent plant to be grown in shady areas. And this is a begonia. This is the seed pod that's coming on it. It's bloomed. Well, there's a bloom on it now, but it's kind of out of season. But this is the seeds. This is the bloom. And what I wanted to tell you about is how to tell if a plant is a begonia. How would you know this is a begonia? You sure can't tell by looking at the leaf, typically. This is the begonia that we see so often and we use in our landscapes, but there are many more types of begonias also. This is one here that most of you know as angel wing begonia because of the shape of the wings, but by the begonia people it's called cane begonia because it grows on somewhat of a cane like bamboo. Here is another different one that you would not recognize as a begonia, and it's I forgot the name of this one, but it's a real nice plant and it will cover a bed in a shady spot. I wanted to show you a group of plants here that are make beautiful house plants, although they will grow in the shade in the yard and during summertime. If we have a freeze, then they can be damaged, but usually the leaves will curl up, you cut them off, and it comes back and grows again. This is one I especially like. It's called a Rex begonia. Not too crazy about the summer heat, but as long as it's not too hot, and if we're getting the right kind of rain, we'll get a lot of pretty growth on these. Here are three that are very similar, being the Rex type, but who would know that this is a begonia because it's a beautiful plant. I grow them on my back porch at home and they grow just really, really nice. All the plants that are in the begonia family have similar flowers. They may not look similar unless you really investigate it thoroughly and maybe even under a microscope, but this is a typical begonia flower. And I wanted to show you, this is a female flower right here, and how can I tell? I can tell because it has ovaries attached to the petals, and these are the ovaries right here, and in those are the seeds of a begonia. So it's, to me, so interesting. These are the males, no ovaries. This is the female with ovaries back here in this structure here, showing a little better on this right here. This is an excellent plant to use in your landscape. What you have to do with it, though, to keep it pretty, and most people won't do that, is they need to be cut back. As the leaves begin to grow, they're tender and easy to break, but as they get a few months old, they begin to get unattractive. And so they put in the new pretty foliage on top of these. So to keep them pretty, you break off, or cut off, the old tips, and it'll start again with all new tips right down inside. This particular one is called a dragon wing begonia, and it's very popular and a very good begonia. It grows mostly in shade as we get into summer. But you can keep them pretty. When they get ugly in 3 months or so, you cut them all down, and they, like I did here, and they come out again to be all full and nice. I wanted to show you a group of begonias that work in shady gardens. And here in Central Florida, many times we have a lot of shade, and there's not many things you can grow that will be real pretty. But a group of begonias that we do grow is called rhizomatous, from rhizome. They grow on a rhizome. And let me see, I'll show you what a rhizome is. A rhizome is that stem that grows along the ground, and they'll make a fairly large clump. The flowers aren't spectacular, but they're certainly pleasing. But these are the rhizomatous ones. I came from Texas, and we call these Texas star begonias, is what we call them there. I don't know the real name for them. but you can see where that name might have come from because it's somewhat, the leaves are somewhat star-shaped, and typically on a begonia you don't see that shape. This is a good plant. It'll make a good ground cover in a shady area. It makes a real pretty pot plant, but it's a plant that is really a nice plant to grow in your garden.